Welcome back to Peterson Auto. Today we're trying to get some progress on this engine for the Mustang here. As you can see, not much has happened since the last video, but I do have a turbocharger sitting here, and that will be going somewhere. So that somewhere is going to be approximately right here. But stuff hits. Like the intake's hitting, the exhaust is lined up right, this is going to dump out the side probably, and then our oil feed and returns on the wrong area, so we need to clock it. Alright, so there's bolts on both snaily sides of the turbo, the hot side and the cold side. These already have loosened up. Sometimes you can loosen up the cold side here and twist it, but that's not wanting to twist. Probably because it's old, and it's been in this position since sometime in the 80s. So we're going to remove all these bolts and retainers. This particular one has 6, 3 on each flat plate. One side, and be careful with them. They're not very long. There's not many threads in there, so. We'll probably have to get a wrench out for this one. A lot of the time, these will be fairly well seized. You're going to probably see the hot side bolts are seized up nice, and they're stuck very well. But we'll show you that when we get to it. But after removing that, you can go ahead and get yourself out a nice little mallet or hammer of some sort. Let's go with this one, might do well. Give it a few taps, and it comes off. There usually is an O-ring seal. This one looks like it's just kind of press fit. So we'll get that cleaned up a bit. Everything looks good on this end. Very minimal play. And the compressor wheel's not chewed up. So that's good news there. We're going to have to get these bolts off down here now. They're going to be much harder. So we're going to go in here, find our wrenches, pull it in the bottom. There we go. There's our 1/2 inch. It should be 1/2 inch. Might be 7/16 actually. Or maybe partially metric. Should be all English for this year, but this 1/2 inch doesn't fit so well. So, either way, we'll get to it. Sometimes a little heat helps. But we'll get those off, and then we'll show you how to clock the rest of this and set it up how you need it. Alright YouTube, it's still kind of hot, but we got most of our bolts out from mounting the hot housing on, so we got to get this nut off. Now I already got it loose because it kind of sucks. I put the socket on the one side of the shaft and the hot side. It was a 19. This was a 10mm, no, a 3/8 12 point on this side. So after you get that off, eventually, there we go. Go ahead and pull the actual compressor wheel off. At that point, this shaft, if I didn't have the housing on, it would slide the whole way out. But now we can go ahead and pull the rest of this apart and get this housing loose. So we're going to take it with a hammer and hit it, and hopefully tap it right off. Not good, I just hit that. You don't want to do that. You want you to take those bolts out. We'll probably do that, but for now I'm going to do this off camera because this is just going to be a lot of tapping around the circles, and finally getting it loose. And I'll give you a rundown of how I got these bolts out. Alright YouTube, so these bolts, how I got them out, they heated right here. You'll actually see, those were a little harder, but like right there, that's where you want to heat it up. You'll get the housing hot, but not really get the bolt hot. You don't want to get the bolt itself hot. And then put a nice tight fitting wrench on it, and a few taps with a hammer, it'll break loose. Gentle-ish taps, medium taps, not heavy hardcore taps, and it'll start breaking loose. We did get them all loose. We did get this housing free, so it will spin. So we'll go ahead and get that clock to the right positioning and show you how to put it back together. Okay, so this is our oil feed. On the other side's our oil drain. Our drain has to go down. Since we want to orient our hot flange straight down, we're going to put it in basically this orientation here. So when it sits here, and the drain's going in the right spot. Now it's going to be kind of close, so I'm going to clock it just a little bit off. And the drain can be a little bit off, but it can't be a lot off. It has to go down. So it'll sit about like that, right there. We'll get that clocked into place and locked down. I'm going to put all these bolts back in. Once all those bolts are back in, get them all tightened down, put the other side of this turbo back together, and we'll be good to go. We'll have it clocked to the right position. Last part would be clocking the intake part, and we'll show you that here. Well, actually we can show you it right now, I think. Long story short, orient it where you want it. So, this one can go like that, or like that, depending on what I want. And yes, this is a tiny turbo for a Windsor, but it will do pretty good. I've already spec'd it out for a street application, which is what we're going to run it on. Might go to the track, but it's not going to be a dedicated track car. So pretty much you just line up where you want and tighten those other bolts down. I think going about there is going to be what we want, but I may just run it backwards and loop it up around backwards. I'm not 100% sure yet, actually. Might have to get the flange mounted that supports the turbo to see where that's actually going to sit. So, yeah, we'll show you how that looks on the engine then. And here's the oil feed. The drain's going to come down here and tap into the pan at some point. I'm not sure where I'm going to go into the pan at. And it's going on this junkyard Windsor to go in a Mustang. We are reusing every part we can. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe to Peterson Auto.